Well, I mean, that technically isn't a wrong description.
Game over, yeah!
Released on PC at the end of 2019, Dragon Quest Builders 2 is the sequel to the game that happened when Square Enix noticed Minecraft was popular and wondered what they also had that was popular, and turns out they had and still have the Dragon Quest IP, so they just mashed the two together. I wish the story was more creatively inclined than that, but considering they just mashed Pokemon Go with Dragon Quest recently, something tells me that was their very exact train of thought. I had no idea what to expect when I bought Builders 2 in a recent sale, but turns out it was something quite a bit more special than I first thought. And I think I first noticed I was playing something truly special when I was close to the end of the first island, since the game is divided by islands, and when I saw the little village I built settling on its own routine. It had a building with 4 rooms, a private room one of the villagers asked for me to build, a living room of sorts where I placed all my crafting tables and such, a massive bedroom for every single villager, and finally a kitchen. Outside of the main building, there was also a toilet, a traditional bathroom, and fields, many fields of all different kinds, with all sorts of seeds planted on them, plus a huge one that had a tree with a swing planted right in the middle of it. The villagers would wake up every day, go to the kitchen and cook something to eat with the ingredients I left in nearby chests, before going to water the fields so the crops would grow, and I would begin the harvest by manually cutting them down and placing the items on my inventory. At irregular intervals, they would line up outside the toilet, waiting for their turn to use it before night inevitably arrived and they all lined up outside of the bathroom for a bath instead, and then they went to sleep, all while dropping hearts of gratitude, which are a currency used to level up your village, as well as unlocking new items. Make no mistake, this game is not unique in this regard. There are plenty of other games that also allow you to watch as your little AI villagers do their routine, but few have achieved the level of feeling like you really handmade this block by block while being familiar with every single villager, seeing how you meet the main ones through a JRPG style storyline with loads of conversation displayed through roughly a billion text boxes. And every single less important addition to the village still comes in small increments that are easy to sympathize with. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out how easy it is to feel attached to the characters and feel like they are living, breathing creatures going about their day in a world of your creation with all of that stuff going on. Plus, special events like villager festivals and dramatic reveals all take place within the very same space, the very same villages you built, instead of special cutscene spaces, which helps the game distinguishes itself even more, as it feels like less like Minecraft with a Dragon Quest skin and more like a full-fledged JRPG adventure in a world that you really built block by block. What helps distinguish things even more is that the game doesn't just dump you in a sandbox world and ask you to make your own fun, which is not really bad at all, but it is more of a directed building style of game, by directing you through chapters of a main storyline which dictates what you must build before you reach the next story beat. And helping things even more is the fact that the game has somewhat strict conditions about what a room is and what must be inside of that room for it to serve a certain function. The rooms even come with their own fanciness and mood meters, so the distinction of what a fancy cute room is or what a rough and tough tiny closet isn't really up to you, it's up to the game, which honestly might make some people feel stifled, but for those with more trouble trying to get the creative juices flowing, this might just be the ticket, since the game is pretty much constantly giving you objectives to strive for. It's just up to you on how pretty the decorations or creative the layout you want to be. All of those observations I just mentioned, however, they came to me in the honeymoon period, as I finished the first island, and everything that came afterwards served to show more and more of the cracks in the game as it became more and more evident that it couldn't quite reach its ambitions. This is not a Square Enix's own original IP after all. It's a Dragon Quest spin-off, and it just couldn't be a Dragon Quest game without all of the classical JRPG stuff you have come to expect, for better or for worse. Make no mistake, I don't dislike Dragon Quest. I have complete respect for it, being one of the few IPs out there that try to keep the old traditions alive as much as possible, because old shit isn't always bad shit, but it's just sometimes not my kind of shit, especially when it's brought to a game that has no idea why the original shit worked in the first place. Case in point, the story in this game is not really my deal. Some people might like it, but it is exceedingly simple and cliched, with a few neat twists along the way and a few unexpected visits to some cool places. And yeah, it's an alright story really, but it can get downright painful for long periods of time when you must do random requests for villagers for hours on end, while all of them keep hammering the same stupid joke or the same stupid plot point over and over again at the start or end of each request, without further developing their individual characters at all. It's just terrible. This is exacerbated by the game's length, which honestly should have been cut in half, but no, this is Dragon Quest, and I just can't get this image out of my mind of some stuffy Japanese executive in a room saying we need some ridiculous padding to get close to the mainline game's length, or else it's not a true Dragon Quest experience. This is just shit for two main reasons. One of them is that a lot of the requests are just for random rooms some individual characters want that doesn't progress the story at all, and just results in you having to read through boatloads of more boring writing, basically. And the second reason is that the number of tools you have available and their quality is directly related to where you are in the main storyline, or the number of optional objectives that you have completed, which means of course that if you just wanted to get creative with the many tools and wanted to reach their highest quality as soon as possible, then you can go get fucked, because you have to complete this 50+ hours cliche as fuck JRPG campaign or fuck off. And then there's of course the obligatory combat systems, because this is Dragon Quest, it must have JRPG combat, except it doesn't have JRPG combat. You see, Dragon Quest is known for allowing you to use all sorts of spells and abilities and to level up your party and set skills. It depends on the game, but basically it allows you to create some pretty interesting turn-based strategies. And well, you can just forget about that. Here, you only have two basic stats, attack and defense, and you can craft weapons to upgrade your attack, and you can craft armor and shields to upgrade your defense, and then you can craft some healing herbs if you want, and off you go to mash X while occasionally holding X if you really want to, on the face of every single monster you meet until they die. Of course, you are accompanied by a companion character most of the time, and you also need to deal with status effects, but they affect you so little and they go away so fast, it just feels like a waste of time to care about them. But I guess, at least in the third island, some of your villagers can do actual Dragon Quest skills, so they can use actual Dragon Quest skills, so I guess that's something, but that's just feel dishonest to me. All of this stuff honestly feels stacked on to pay lip service to Dragon Quest without actually doing any of the cool gameplay stuff Dragon Quest actually did. I mean, I only played 7 and 11, but somehow I don't think all of the other games I played were just mashing X simulators. Overall, it feels weird that the Dragon Quest side of Dragon Quest Builders is the weakest part of the overall package, when you'd imagine it would actually be the stronger one, given Omega Force were under direct orders from the man himself, Yuji Horii, but ultimately that's just the way the dice were rolled, and while I don't regret all of the time I spent with Dragon Quest Builders 2, I can't really recommend it to anyone who doesn't have the copious amounts of free time necessary and are willing to sink in to get to the actual good stuff. Now excuse me, I'm off to go play something that's hopefully better.